Greetings, Geechlings, Geechin Prime here with another One Piece Straw Hat discussion video of potential power-ups or whatever I decide to call this series. But anyway, today we're tackling the chef of the crew, Sanji. Blackleg Sanji, Vinsmoke Sanji, whatever name you prescribe by. But, or subscribe to. Yeah, subscribe to. But anyway, okay, as you already know, he knows both forms of hockey. So this one kind of went like, how could he use this in a more unique way than he already is? So his specialty is observation. So it's like, okay, he further expands upon it, eventually mastering it. What if he starts using it more for weak points instead of just evasion tactics to be a more efficient fighter? Then I was like, what an interesting way of a chef using, seeing all these imperfections, in a person's defense or their form or something. And then I'm like, when he's in the market, let him he'd be like, this roast looks pretty good, but there's a little bit here on the side. I don't like it. Show me another. So he uses it to see the imperfections in food ingredients, and then he can just call it imperfection inspection. He wouldn't call it that. He wouldn't even say that because, well, he's too cool for that. That would be me who would do that. But as for hockey, I mean, it's kind of straightforward what he would do with it. I mean, just make his kicks even more durable, which I'm pretty sure he's already done that at this point. It's just kind of hard to see in manga form, especially with his flurry of kicks. But anyway, for more generalized ideas, I came up with a few attacks kind of things, as I've done with a few others, because Sanji was hard to do. I couldn't really come up with anything that would go too against the grain for the character. So as I was researching, and as I typically do, I'll look at what they already do, and he's basically already uses 2 of the 6 powers, but there's one that seems like it is the most logical power up for him. He needs to learn Rangyaku, Storm Kick, or what was the other one? Basically just a slash kick, air kick, and it would add power and range to all of his moves. And some of those moves, which I did, a couple of them, I went for the French translation. I may add those in post, because I'm I don't want to butcher it too much. Anyway, the most basic one is cut, or koper, is a short-ranged air slice kick that could be combined with just about any of his other normal attacks. It, would only maybe reach this much further than normal, so less than a foot. Then you have moves such as pancake, which this doesn't necessarily employ Rangyuku, storm kick, or storm leg. Like I said, some names don't always go with me. But pancake or crepe, in a way. This is to be used against multiple opponents. So he starts by essentially just kicking them into the air through whatever attack he wants to use at that moment, and then using skywalk to, climb above where they ended up in the air, and then he just starts kicking and stomping them down into a stack. A short stack or a tall stack, of pancakes. Next, I was like, well, he has why can't I ever say it? Diable Jambe style storm leg moves. And it was like, okay, let's combine what I just mentioned about him learning storm leg, and then combining that with his most signature form of attacks, Diable Jambe. And I got Heat Knife, or Kote a Color. a mid to long ranged flaming air slash. And it's like you like with Zoro, and this would essentially be like Sanji's answer to Zoro's like air slash that he learned in Dressrosa, except it has fire thrown in, which is always cool. Next we have hot cross buns, which, to go along with the whole chef food theme that he does with all of his attacks. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this one. It'll be somewhere on the screen, I'm sure. He starts off by jumping high into the air, and then at the apex of his jump, he starts to do like a somersault. And then with that, once he's kind of into a tight ball, he just continues to spin as he gets closer to his target, and then he unfurls and then makes a solid kick right down onto the top of their head. And if anybody knows what a hot cross bun is, it's those like little, like, they look like a roll, and it has like a cross like thing on them of either like some kind of like, what are you, it's got stuff on it. I'll have a picture of it. But next is like, okay, another thing, and this is a more recent development for Sanji, is in I may have to double check and you'll see it in the edits, but with his raid suit in chapter 903, or was it 904, he got a raid suit. Now, be it not only would it look cool, it would make Sanji more efficient in battle, because, well, he gets a bulletproof cape. And while it would give him even more fire and heat resistance, that's a little bit redundant, especially when you combine it with like the hover boots like jump boosts. So, and he can already skywalk, so he doesn't really need half of this, especially with his fire resistance. But it would make him even that more superior, because when you consider the hover boots literally hover, so like when he's in skywalk, he doesn't have to keep like exerting himself to stay in the air. He can just hover if he wants. And it saves him from wasting time and energy using skywalk constantly. And then that sets him up for more attacks. Like, he can do sky battles, essentially. Basically Pokemon now. But anyway, basically the final thing I had going for Sanji in this was Diable Chief, which is French for Devil Chef. Yeah, when I looked up the translation for Diablo Jambe, I was like, what? It's, devil leg. And then I'm like, well, he's a chef. And then it's like, the Devil Chef name is just to name the form that Sanji takes. He's done it twice now. First during Thriller Bark when he saved Nami from, what's his name? Crap. It was the invisible guy. Drawing a blank on his name. I hate when I do that. But, he did it during that, and then more recently during his fight with Watasumi, on Fishman Island. It was Hell's Memories, where, he thinks of all the horrible things from the time skip, and he's like, oh god, I hate this, and then he just bursts into flames. So basically, trauma leads to fire. He's basically, the Human Torch, which, given the almost flight capabilities, but, and then, that would be an overall buff that he would gain. And for like long-term use of it, we don't know exactly how resistant he could be. So the raid suit could be utilized in that way. Also, just being able to shoot like generic fireballs. Like, he goes into he does a handstand, flip, or spins midair, and then sends out fireballs shooting out everywhere. That could be cool. He could maybe call it Heat Wave or something. I don't know. Like I said, a little generic for some of his stuff, and he was hard to come up with because his fighting style doesn't really lend to much that he hasn't already done. And, but yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Keishan Prime, and I'll see you next time. Keishlings, roll out.